All right, good day, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Peter. For those of you that are new here, welcome. Go ahead and hit like, comment, and subscribe. Tap the notification bell so you can know when I'm uploading to the channel. Y'all, it's cold out here, but it ain't as cold as it have been. All right, so I decided that I would come out today and just, well, actually, I was out here grounding in nature and working in the garden, preparing the garden for, you know, you got certain things you got to do in the garden in order to get it ready for the next season and all that other stuff. Even though the next season is not for a while, I was still doing things to prepare the garden anyway. But your guys and your ancestors done sent me out here to give y'all this message, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the multiple messages that are like being presented to me right now. And let me tell you, I just need y'all to bear with me today because it's gonna be a mouthful. Okay, all right, so what you guys and your ancestors are saying is like, you know, it's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Everybody's gonna be a bad guy in somebody's story. Is damned if you do and damned if you don't, man. And so the reason why your guys and your ancestors are saying it is because they need you to get away from people that are just toxic to you. All right, they are toxic to you. They only filter negative energy towards you. They never send you anything positive. They don't want to see you doing well. Everything that you try and do for these people is not enough. And so your guides and your ancestors are saying that they are needing you to just get away from all of those things that are not feeding you in a way that you need to be fed right now. Because right now, you need to be fed with, you know, encouragement. You need to be fed with motivation. You need to be fed with things that are going to speak to your soul and speak to your spirit. Things that are going to provide you with the substance that you are needing in order to create. All right, because your guides and ancestors are ready for you to unleash your creativity. Like, show your creativity. Start doing the things that you know within your soul that you should be doing and that you are wanting to be doing right now. This is not a time for you to just to contemplate and procrastinate too long. You know how they say study long, study wrong? Your guides and your ancestors don't want you to procrastinate anymore. This is a time for you now to, you know, figure out how you're going to navigate this thing and figure out how you are going to create an abundant life for yourself. Okay, so create an abundant life for yourself. This is a time for you to get organized and get all of your ducks in a row. Okay, not be around people that are serving you in a way that is not beneficial to your growth and your development, because so many of you have come through this transformation again. And when you come through the transformation, there's a lot of things that you left behind or should have been left behind. And so those people that are there that are feeding you these falsehoods and telling you these stories about yourself that are no longer true have to go. And also any worry that you find yourself any worry that you find yourself thinking about and it keeps coming up, you gotta release that stuff too. That stuff gotta be let go, because that worry is not what you're worried about, and the things that you are telling yourself is from an old chapter. It's from an old story. It's from everything before the point that you're at right now. So your guides and your ancestors are wanting you to believe in yourself in a way that you are not allowing toxic people to be in your space, in your energetic field, and you are not allowing toxic people to feed you in a negative way, and you're not allowing certain thoughts to feed you in a negative way, if that makes sense. Okay, and so your guys, your ancestors, like, so what if it wasn't what you expected, right? So I'm feeling like they got me feeling like you know, you was expecting something and you thought that it would be bigger than what it was, but it wasn't as big as you thought it would be. But they saying that you need to celebrate all of the wins. You need to celebrate the baby steps. Even if the steps are small, you need to be celebrating the small. Even if the harvest is small, you need to be celebrating that harvest too. It doesn't have to be a big harvest. It just has to be enough to get the job done. It just has to be enough to sustain you and to sustain everything else that you are going to create in this new energy that you have found yourself in, or that you have worked so diligently to get yourself in. And your ancestors and guys are like, look, don't be afraid to ask. Call us up, invite us in, and we can help you. So in many ways, you sometimes feel like you might be overworking them or things like that, or you don't know if you should ask them, or you kind of worried about doing your ancestor work. No, do not be afraid of your ancestors. Do not be afraid of your ancestors. I don't care what story you done heard. I don't care what thoughts you have in your mind about your ancestors. Those are those falsehood and that unnecessary stress and that unnecessary worry that they are saying that you need to release. You ask them for the existence. You call them forth. You ask them to help you. You invite them in to help you establish that relationship with your ancestors, because they're saying that they are there for that particular reason. Maybe the harvest wasn't as big as you thought it could have been because you didn't have the necessary workings going on in the background to assist you. And they can assist you by activating certain things in you and giving you certain information, as long as you sit in with them and listening to them, as well as listening to yourself, because you can't hear yourself. You can't hear yourself with all of these things going on around you. So they're saying, like sit with yourself. You need to hear yourself. Your intuition is active. It is giving you so many different. Some of you guys are like getting all these random thoughts, and these random thoughts are not just random thoughts. These are things that you need to be exploring. These are downloads that you are receiving. If they told you to get your phone out and record a message and put it up, put it up. If they told you to get out the house and go do something, go do that. If they told you to go snap some pictures, or go make some clothes, or go make some candles, or go make some soap, whatever it is that they told you to do, it's time for you to start doing it and stop procrastinating. We are in an energy where it's time for you to start navigating life in the way that you should. It's time for you to start working. It's time for you to start working. It's time for you to start working and activating turning on those gifts and showing people those gifts. All right. You got to believe that you have everything that you need at your disposal. And they're in this space where they're like, look, we can't, and we don't know how many times we're going to have to tell you that everything that you have right now is enough. All right. And so, I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you why I'm telling this story, because this story is in correlation to why it's enough. So y'all know I had a garden back here, and we were growing cabbages, collard green, all these different things, you know. And so we was growing this stuff, and we would get to use the stuff and then grow more. Well, I was waiting, had 20 more days. I wanted my cabbage head to get bigger, so I was waiting before I did the harvest, right? And when I did the harvest, the freeze happened, okay? And when the freeze happened, I lost over 80% of the garden. And initially, in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, all that hard work that I put into this garden, and the freeze came, and the first freeze took the whole garden out, even with the greenhouses, the overwintering and everything. All the preparation that I did nights prior to the freeze still took out 80% of the garden, and about 25% of the landscape, right? But I said all that to say this. At first, I'm thinking, oh, we defeated. But when I went inside that garden, I started digging in the dirt, and I looked on the ground, and it was carrots in the dirt. And I looked on the ground, and it was still celery in the dirt. You know, when I went through the leaves, all the dead leaves had fallen off, but there was broccoli inside of the dry leaves. When I started pulling the leaves off of the cabbages, there was cabbage heads inside of the dead cabbage leaves. But it wasn't as big as I wanted it to be, but it was enough for what I needed it to do, right? And so I was able to take all of that all of those leaves, all those dead leaves and all those things that I couldn't eat, and use it as compost. And what compost does to the dirt is the compost, when you create the compost and you put it inside of the beds and things like that, it provides nutrients to the plants, and it forces the bacteria, the bad bacteria to, well, it forces itself to fertilize. I'm trying to figure out how to say this, because it forces all the bad bacteria out pretty much, and it provides the soil with nutrient, and it make the soil rich and make the soil extremely fertile, so that when you're growing more plants, that they can thrive a lot faster and better than the plants that were in there initially, right? And so I said that to say that everything that all that time it took for me to get all the entire garden to thrive the way that it did, and then all those dead leaves and things like that was still able to be used. It wasn't the harvest that I expected it to be. It wasn't the plants it wasn't the amount of food that I expected to get, but it was enough food. It was enough food not only to create vegetables and things like that for us to eat, but it was enough to also put back into the soil and provide substance and nutrients for the new plants that we're going to be eating in the spring. All right. So sometimes you go through craziness in your life, and you go through certain things in your life, and that thing that you went through is not meant to kill you. It's not meant to starve you, but it's meant to feed you in another way. All right. And so that's what your guides and your ancestors are saying. What you think that you went through, or what you think that you experienced, or what you feel like you didn't get, or what you thinking about, it might not have been meant to come to you in that way and feed you. It might be meant for you to use that same thing in another way to feed you. So it don't matter what type of pain you went through. Yes, you experienced that pain, but that was an experience. And sometimes we go through things, all right? And sometimes people and things and situations happens in our lives to show us what it is that we need to do to better ourselves. What are some things that we still need to work on? How else could we take this situation and transmute this situation and make the situation a positive versus a negative? And so that's what your guides and your ancestors are saying, is that don't worry about what you did not get right now. At least you got something. The rest is on the way, and it's going to feed you in a different way, and it's going to provide you more substance than it provided you in the first harvest. Okay? And now that your mind and your soul has grown, and you have reached another part of yourself, a higher part of yourself, you're going to be able to take that same information now, and that same hurt now, and that same partial harvest now, and feed other people with your nutrients. You're going to be able to fertilize someone else's soil to help them grow. You are. So it's time for you to stop procrastinating. It's time for you to stop stressing. It's time for you to stop worrying. And it's time for you to acknowledge what your role is on this soul journey. Your ancestors are trying to help you complete the mission that you said that you was going to complete. They allowed you to come through their bloodline because you wanted to come here and fulfill something. And now that you're here and you're at this point, it is time for you to begin to do what you told them you was going to do. You have to hold up your end of the bargain. Take that stuff that you thought was no good, that you thought was damaged, baggage, trash. Take all that stuff that you thought was all of those things and utilize that stuff as compost to feed another seed to help them grow. Because this ain't just about you. This is about everybody that you encounter. This is about healing and helping others to heal. This is about elevation. This is about breaking generational curses. This is bigger than you. This right here is bigger than you. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this message. I hope this message actually made sense. I'll go back and listen to this message because I'm not sure even what was going on just then. But I know what was going on. Spirit Soul, she showed up. And sometimes she show up when things are needed to be communicated in a way that it can be understood by everybody. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this message. If you like the content on this page, go ahead and hit like, comment, and subscribe. Also, all of my information to join Patreon and things like that is in the description below, and I'll holler at you.